So here I am at Muir Beach, a little bit north of San Francisco, California. Hoping to get into Muir Woods later. We failed to do our reservations in time for parking. We didn't pay attention to what we needed to do, but feel like getting a little bit later. Meanwhile, I'm trying to very carefully walk around and avoid stepping on the shellfish that are attached to all the rocks. And I've been thinking about macros. And macros are probably one of the things I'm weakest on for things that are really popular because I haven't ever really been a big fan of them. Because they're sort of hard to control. Like, I like IDE tooling things, and sometimes macros sort of fly in the face of that and make it harder to do, like, static analysis of your code. And that's not really something I'm a big fan of. So I've been thinking about what can you do to make macros that also are well behaved. And it probably depends on exactly how powerful your macros are and whether they're hygienic, so on and so forth. Anyway, I've also been thinking about inline functions, like in Kotlin, because it made me think about things in a sort of different kind of way. Because say I have for loops, and I have callback for loops, a dot for each, like on an array, for example, and I give it a callback function. Well, there's the idea of like internal versus external iterators, and if it's really a callback function, that's the semantics, then I have to worry a little bit about call stack. I have to think about the semantics of what it means versus just an inline for loop has different kind of semantics. And Kotlin inline functions are interesting because in some places, people sort of discourage the idea of saying inline. It should be an optimizer's job to say whether something's inline or not the job of the programmer. But when you say have this be an inline function, it actually sort of it's not just about optimization, it's also about semantics. I can think about the fact that I don't expect there to be a call stack item here. I don't expect these kind of things. Of course, all that matters, do you have semantics associated with call stacks and so on? And how does that relate, to returns, breaks, and continues, and so on, if you have such things in your language. But the fact that the function still is fully typed, but does some things you might have to have a macro for, maybe a different kind of language, makes me wonder what else you can do with macros that might also have, some kind of static typing associated with them in a way that makes it look like a function in some ways, even though it has more power than a function. And I haven't studied carefully to see what might exist or not in this area, but I probably ought to. Anyway, bye y'all. And, I don't want to get wet right there. I'm wearing shoes that I don't want to get wet. And that was a lot more than I expected to have come up with me right now.